First, giving honor to God.
Ya kwanza natafuta kusema sifa kwa Bwana.
To Bishop McMurray, give him
Kwa
who
mchungaji Bishop
has
McMurray
hosted us today. Give him a big hand.
anatualika hapa leo.
And to all of the ministers of the gospel.
Na kwa wachungaji wote, watu wote wanahubiri injili.
But to mostly to Peter and Dorcas Lyoya.
Na kwa yote sana inatoka kwa Papa Peter na Mama Dorcas Lyoya.
On April 4th,
le 4 avril,
I had rose that morning
nililamuka hiyo asubuhi
commemorating that on that day in 1968.
Na nilikuwa nakumbuka hiyo siku ilikuwa 1968.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr.
was killed in Memphis, Tennessee.
Balimuua Memphis, Tennessee.
I was the youth director.
Na nilikuwa pale, nilikuwa kijana, director kijana.
At 13 years old.
Na nilikuwa na miaka 13.
For his organization in New York.
Juu ya organization yake New York.
Under Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Na nilikuwa chini ya mchungaji Reverend Jesse Jackson.
As I went through the day.
Na wakati nilikuwa naenda mchana,
I was on my radio show and other places.
Na kwa radio yangu nilikuwa natangaza.
Talked about how Dr. King
gisi nilikuwa nazungumza gisi Dr. King
had given his life
alipana maisha yake
to fight for justice and freedom,
kupigana juu ya justice na uhuru
for people like me at 13.
Watu kama mimi nilikuwa na miaka 13.
Later that day,
hiyo siku
Reverend Charles Williams,
mchungaji Charles William,
who just introduced me,
mwenye ananiingiza hapa,
who's one of the greatest young activists in this country,
na alikuwa activist mkubwa sana hapa mwa nchi,
called to tell me
akaniita
that on that day,
na hiyo siku
2022,
2022,
that a young black man
kuko kijana mwingine wa mweusi
from the Congo
mwana anatoka Congo
was shot and killed here in Grand Rapids.
Walimupiga masasi na akakufa hapa Grand Rapids.
I said, "Are you serious?"
Nikasema kweli?
He said, "Yes, I'm hearing reports that it was by a policeman."
Niko nasikia rapport kama ilitoka kwa polisi.
He said, "And Reverend,
nakasema mchungaji,
it is not all in yet.
Na yote haiko hatuyapata yote kweli.
But we're getting varied reports."
Na tuko tunapata maraporo yoyote.
Hours later,
kisha baadaye
the Attorney General of Black America,
kukatoka tena Procureur General wa watu weusi hapa,
the incomparable Attorney Ben Crump,
na kutoka avoka wetu Ben Crump,
called and told me that same story.
Wakaniita kuniambia hiyo hadithi.
And said, "And Reverend is bad and worse than you think."
Nakasema kama mchungaji iko mubaya kwa gisu kwa nafikiria.
They shot him according to preliminary reports.
Na walimupiga masasi kutokana na raporo yenye tulipata,
in the back of his head.
Kupita nyuma ya kichwa yake.
2 weekends later,
kisha semene mbili apre,
I had Ben Crump and the father Peter.
Nilikuwa na Ben Crump na Papa Peter.
And my brother here who's interpreting.
Na Israeli mwenye kwa na interprete.
To tell the story on my television show.
Kusema hadithi gisi ilipitikana ku television.
In the course of our conversation,
na wakati tulikuwa tunazungumza,
Peter asked would I come and give the eulogy today.
Na Peter kanilomba kama ndena kuja kuzungumza leo kumazishi ya Patrick.
I come to be with him and the mother.
Na mimi nakuja kukua naye na mama.
And Patrick's 2 children.
Na Patrick mtoto wake.
To tell you that this cannot end today.
Na kuambia kama hii haitamalizika hapa leo.
To add insult to the injury.
Na kusema tena kuongeza matukano kukidonda.
They're telling this family.
Walikuwa naambia hii jamaa
that they will not release the name
na wasema hawatapana jina
of the one responsible for this death.
Responsable juu ya hii kifo.
talking about we won't release the name
na biko wanasema tutapana jina
until he is charged.
mpaka wakati tunajua kama iko charge.
Every time a young black man or woman is arrested in this town, you put their name all over the news.
Yote wanafunga kijana hapa mwa nchi mu Grand Rapide banatiaka jina yake nje.
Every time we're suspected of something,
wakati wote wakitususpecte na kitu yoyote,
you put our name out there.
Unatia jina yetu kule.
How dare you
inatokana aje wewe
hold the name of a man
uko na kamata unafunga jina ya mtu
killed this man.
Alikuya aliua ukijana.
We want his name.
Tunataka jina lake.
Let me tell you
acha niwaambie
the danger of this.
Danger ya hii.
Are you saying, Reverend Williams,
uko nasema mchungaji William,
that if he's never charged, we will never know his name?
Kama bakumsharjia tutajua jina lake?
Are you setting a legal precedent now
uko nasema sahihi
that if a policeman kills somebody
kama polisi anaua mtu
on videotape
na kitu inaonekana ku video
that he's holding down
na anamtia chini
and shoots in the back of the head, that if the grand jury don't charge him,
na unasema kama jury
that we will never know his name? I come from New York to tell you that we are not going to let that precedent stand.
Na tunasema kama hiyo haitabakia, tutajua jina lake.
These
our
young folks,
vijana wenye wako hapa,
black and white,
mzungu wala mweusi,
that have been marching in Grand Rapids every day,
kila siku.
They're not the troublemakers.
Habiko wanaenda kuvunja vitu.
They're the trouble breakers.
Biko wanakuja kuvunja kitu yenye iko haiko ya normale.
It's trouble.
Ni kitu yenye iko na shida.
When you can shoot people in the head
wakati unapiga mtu masasi
and remain anonymous.
Na abataye jina lako.
Don't ask them, are they going to be violent?
Usiseme kama wataenda kuvunja vitu.
Give us the name of the one that was
jina ya
violent.
mtu mwenye aliua Patrick.
It is confusing to me. We are in Ben Crump, Michigan.
Tuko mu Michigan.
Reverend Williams, this Michigan?
Tuko Michigan.
Is this the Michigan where just not long ago you would not convict men that threatened to kidnap the governor?
Hii tunjo Michigan kwenye mulienda amukutaka kufunga batu wenye balitafuta kuua kufunga governor, kukidnape governor.
Now you going to protect the name of a policeman that shot somebody in the back of the head?
Mwenye alipiga mtu masasi nyuma ya kichwa.
Is this Michigan 2022?
Hii ni Michigan 2022
or Mississippi 1952?
Yola Mississippi 1950.
Can you imagine
nataka uangalie kidogo
how they must be discussing
uangalie gisi biko wanazungumza
Patrick in the Congo,
Mkongo,
Patrick in Africa,
Muafrika, Patrick
all over this world,
dunia mzima,
while we stand with President Biden
na sisi tunashimama na President Biden
for those victims in Ukraine.
Bale ba victime be yuko Ukraine,
how they're saying but they shot a young boy
na biko wanasema walipiga mtu masasi
in the United States.
Mwapa mu Etazini,
we got to fight for him.
Tunapasha kupigana juu yake.
From Ukraine to Grand Rapids, we must stand up for victims.
Tunapasha kusimama juu ya Patrick.
And let me say this.
Acha niseme hii.
This is election year.
Hii niko nawaambia, niko nawafundisha.
This is a midterm election year.
Hii iko nakuya election iko nakuya.
We stood and fought with the family of George Floyd.
Tulishimama na tukapigana na familia George Floyd.
And other families and came with the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act.
Na majamaa yote yenye liuwa na polisi tuko tunatafuta justice.
If that act had passed the Senate,
akama ile acte lipita ku Senat,
qualified immunity would have been gone.
Kukalifie immunite ingienda.
And that unnamed anonymous policeman would have had to think
jina ya police ingifika
before he shot Patrick.
Mbela mupige Patrick mkichwa.
I don't want anybody in this nation
sitaki kila hata mtu mmoja mwa hii nchi
to ask for our vote
kuuliza juu ya vote yetu
unless they are pledging they will go to the Congress and pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act.
Na kwenda kupase loi ya George Floyd justice mu police.
We, in the name of Patrick,
are
going to have a litmus test in these elections about our right to vote and our right to deal with our policemen. We will stand with good cops. We will stand with those police that uphold the law. But if a policeman kills when his life is not under threat and you can't be under threat when you're on top of somebody with their head down and their face in the ground, if you're right, we stand with you. But if a policeman is wrong, we're going to call it wrong. And we gonna call your name.
Na tutaita jina lako, tutataya jina lako.
Let me say this.
Acha niseme hii.
To respect Bishop, one of the most respected ministers. I come out of Koji.
Na kuheshimia Bishop hapa.
In the book of Genesis.
Mkitabu ya mwanzo ya Genesis.
First chapter,
sura ya kwanza,
27th verse.
Mstari 27.
It reads, Bishop, and God blessed them.
Na Mungu akawabariki.
And God created man
na Mungu akaumba mwanadamu
in his own image.
Kwa image yake.
In the image of God.
Na kwa image ya Mungu.
He created him.
Na akafanya mwanadamu.
Male and female.
Mwanaume na mwanamke.
He created them.
Mungu aliwaumba.
Now that's a strange text to use.
Hiyo ni kitu moja hawezi kusema au tutaitumikisha hapa.
But what I think is confusing
kitu yenye kwa kuchanganyikiwa kidogo
is that because of the legacy of this nation,
kwa sababu ya historia ya nchi,
Attorney Johnson, where they took us from the shores of Africa,
Procureur General Johnson balitutosha Afrika
and brought us across the Atlantic,
banatuleta hapa
and made us slaves,
na wakatufanya tunakuwa watumwa.
To justify slavery,
kwenda kwa justifier esclavagisme,
they had to try and act like we were less than human.
Na kusema sema walikuwa natutrete kama hatuko watu.
And they devalued the human worth.
Na wakatutosha valere yetu.
By teaching their children
na kwanza kufundisha watoto wao
that we were less than they were.
Kama tulikuwa wadogo kwao, tuko chini yao.
You couldn't take equal human beings
na wangefanya sema wanadamu wote akuwe sawa
and make them work from sun up to sundown.
Mwanzo kukamata mwanadamu wote mwenye kwa sawa mfanya anatumika asubuhi mpaka
magharibi. Pay them wages.
Na au walipe.
You couldn't take equal human beings.
Hawezi kamata mwanadamu wote mwenye kwa sawa
and take their names.
Ukamate jina zao
and name them after their owners.
You
couldn't take equal human beings and break up their families and take their women at your will. You couldn't take equal human beings and make them eat the worst food. But I come almost 403 years later tell you we were not created
Na kinakuja kuambia kama
to be your boys and girls.
Tukuwe watumishi wenu.
We were created
Tuliumbiwa
in the image of God. When you see us, you're seeing what God put together. And what God put together, you don't have the right to violate. Are you telling me that you have decided that a man's life is not worth than some tags on his car? Not in the middle of an interaction that was saving someone's life. No, about car tags. Not about even property. About car tags. Not somebody's house got broken. About car tags. Not that somebody stole something from somebody. About car tags. You're going to run and chase somebody down. About some car tags. You're going to take a gun out your holster and take his life, his children's father, about some car tag. And you thought we wouldn't come from all over the world and let you know that enough is enough. I flew out of New York a few hours ago with Gwen Carter, mother of Eric Garner. I brought my daughter with me, our youngest daughter Ashley, because I cannot have this legal precedent in this country that the equivalence of the value of our life is some car tags. I come to support those that's marched every day because they refuse to let you devalue our lives. We are worth more than some car tags. We are the salt of the earth. When God made man, he made it for all of us. How dare you pull your gun about some car tags? I want this family to know Patrick came here looking for a better life and ran into an America that we know too well. And we won't stop till we change this country. We won't stop till we turn this country around. We built this country. We made this country. We made it the richest country in the world. And we never got paid. But you're going to give justice. You're going to give fairness. You're going to turn this country around. You're going to give justice for Patrick. So I beg of all of you to make today be a day of mourning, but keep going into days of movement. Don't you ever stop. And don't you ever turn around. And don't you ever give in. And don't you ever give out. And whatever you do, make them call his name. Make them reveal why are they hiding his name. Let me say this. They say, well, Reverend Al, we give suspects' names out because we want to check their background.
Wanasema kama atupanake jina mpaka sasa tunafanya justice.
You don't want to give the policeman's name out.
Hawapendi kupana jina ya polisi.
Because maybe the policeman has a record of other complaints.
Jua nini polisi piske iko na record deja watu walikuwa wanajiplaindre.
I mean, why are you hiding his name?
Jua nini uko nafichika jina lake?
Is there some things about him you don't want us to know?
Uko vitu juu yake upendi tujue?
We are not going to stop. We are going to back these young folks up. They got their fist up for us. They have their fist up for Patrick. We're going to stand with this mother and father. We can't bring Patrick back, but we can bring justice in Patrick's name. Bible says, woe unto them that are at ease in Zion. Too many people today that are at ease while this kind of thing is going on. But thank God for Bishop McMurray, who had the nerve to open up his church. Some of you preachers didn't want this in your church. You want the sheep to feed you rather than you feed the sheep. You scared of what downtown will say. You scared of what the police union gonna say. You got too many punks in the pulpit. But I thank this bishop for giving this family a dignified place that we're going to make the world know that we are all with him. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I was asked to be here. But I came here whether you like it or not. Because when you shot him, you shot my son. You shot my brother. You shot my kind. And I'm going to stand up for my brother and my man. As I end my eulogy, let us remain committed to the family. One of the reasons that Gwen is here is we stay with families from now on. We family now. You always hear from me, whatever you need. Stefan Clark's brother's here. We family now. We're going to stand for the whole. And I'm not going to desecrate the local authorities, but I want to call on the federal justice department. We need the justice department to investigate this death. We have reason to not just want to wait on the local prosecutor. We don't want local politics to compromise justice. We're calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to intervene and to stand up for the civil rights of Patrick Lyoya. Patrick had the right to answer whatever question. If he walked away, you didn't have to chase him down. there was another passenger in the car.
kulikuwa passager mwingine mu gari.
You could have asked them
ungemuuliza
who he was and where he was going.
nani na alikuwa anaenda wapi.
You had plenty of things you could have done
ulikuwa na vitu vingi
rather than to chase him down.
kumkimbizana naye.
And then you say something about hand on a stun gun.
Na unasema na tena unasema mikono ilikuwa kuteza.
A hand on a taser.
Mikono ilikuwa kuteza.
Well, if you say he had the hand on the taser,
kama unasema mikono ilikuwa kuteza,
then you knew when you grabbed your gun
na ulijua kama ulikamata
that you wasn't grabbing your taser.
Haukuwa unakamata teza yako.
Which showed intent to use a deadly weapon.
Na ulikuwa unasema unaonesha kitu
kutumikisha. We need a federal investigation on the civil rights of this young man.
Investigation federale juu ya huyu kijana.
Well, Reverend, maybe the gun went off. It couldn't have went off if it wasn't in his hand. It couldn't have went off if it wasn't against his head. Went off was justice is what went off. And we are determined this is as bad as it gets. You turned a traffic stop into what appears by tape to be an execution. And we are not going to live at a time that gun's unanswered. So it's time for you to stand up. Stand up in Michigan. Stand up in the U.S. Stand up all over the world. It's time to fight again. It's time to march again. It's time to organize again. It's time to rally again. It's time to walk together, children. Don't you get weary. No justice, no peace. No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
no peace.
No justice.